Hey YouTube, I'm back. So now I'm under my truck, and you see I use the wood trick to loosen the springs enough to pry them loose from the top of the jack and swing them out of the way to expose the 9/16 bolts under here that hold that thing up. And well, guess what? Not moving at all. This one is kind of stripping already, but they really won't budge. There's, too much years of rust and rot on them. So I'm probably going to have to cut them off, and I didn't really bring anything with me today that could do that job. I'm going to take a few more shots at trying to get it, but extending the leveler and using the springs extended to get the wood in worked really well. But because of where the frame lines up to the travel of the spring, really it's not going to work to put the new ones back on the jack. I did get those off the same way. I kind of filled them up with wood a little bit and then just pried the hook with a screwdriver until I got that pin out, that rod, that retaining bar. So what I think I'm going to do is, once I get the new one installed, if and when I get the new one installed, put the top of the springs into the new frame, put the pin in them, and then just hook near the bottom of the coils a tie down, and I will attach it back there to the battery frame. Those are where my battery chassis are housed, or in that framework there, and just tie down and ratchet it back until I stretch it open enough to put the hook, which is longer on this side, back in the foot of the jack. So this kind of worked, but this thing is so rusted out up here that I'm not going to be able to remove this easily. It's going to have to be cut out. And the real fun part is you can't get to it from the side because obviously the front tire is in the way. Even though I turned it all the way in, it lets me under the wheel well of the coach in a little bit. But getting to the bolts that are more on the inside of the framework, and I don't know if you can see this or not, that's the outside one front. The inside one is actually on the other side of that hole in the I-beam frame. So some genius put that there. And on this side, there's a frame and guide for the wires, I take it leading, or the hoses I should say, leading back to my brakes probably. And there isn't a good way to get a tool in there to get that bolt out. And I'm not even sure that's the right one that I'm seeing here. It's not. That's one holding the outer framework for that guide. It's actually still buried under there somewhat, and you can't even really get a look at it with just the tip of a cell phone, let alone get a tool in there strong enough to hold while you break that bolt free. The jack itself is actually off the pin. Once I got all that tension off of it, I can actually just take that away, but the hose is still attached on this side, so I don't want to really get that loose and have that bleeding under here. Although I don't think much fluid will come out if I just tuck the hose above gravity, above, level in the frame. So, not really sure where I'm going to go with this. I may disconnect the line, hang the line up, come back with a grinder, grind all these bolts off. There's only 4 of them. Put new 1" by 3/8 bolts in there and start over. What I don't want is, I don't want the new jack being all falling apart like this one is now. Not real fond of this, but I'll take what I can get just to get this one out of the way. So I'll be back probably about a week. Thanks for your time, and I'm going to keep trying. Take care, everybody.